I was a teacher in New York City public schools for about 14 years. I started teaching in 2001. I was 21 years old. I started teaching in the South Bronx at the James Monroe campus, in the Soundview section of the Bronx. So early on, we got into some activism in the schools. And the thing that stood out the most, that was really shocking, I was born in New York City, but I grew up in the suburbs out in Jersey. To see police like in a school, and to the metal detectors, and knowing that young people were lined up kind of around the corner. When one of the metal detectors would go down, you'd only have one running, and there was 2,500 kids coming into the building at any given time. The injustice is really glaring. And to see kids patted down, and you have to think 21 and I'm white, and I'm like, this is horrifying, and how are we not? So we organized some sit-ins, and along with the young people, and they conducted a sit-in, and I called all the newspapers because I thought what we were doing was righteous and awesome. And the Daily News came. I'm sure we could dig into that article. This is my, I think about it with some shame, but the principal called me in to her office, and there were some parents there, and she was like, the thesis statement of what she said was, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And a parent looked at me, and she was like, "Let me ask you something. Have you ever been unsafe at school? Talk to me about how, when you went to high school, what was your experience of safety? Were you unsafe when you went to school?" She said, "Because I went to school here in the 90s. And I don't really think that you have any idea of what safety is or looks like. So for you to be making decisions about what safety looks like for our young people is really unreasonable." And these parents were upset about, I think, the publicity that the school was getting, rightfully so. And my and the other teachers' just genuine lack of understanding of what it was that we were embarking on by bringing this attention to the school with no complexity to an understanding of why we might have security in schools, or just what the community's opinion was on the presence of safety and security in the school. And that isn't to say that all people of the Monroe campus community loved NYPD. That isn't the thesis here. The point is that I thought I knew what was best, and I didn't, because I hadn't asked anybody. And I know that you mentioned before, like, what's the relationship between critical consciousness and culturally responsive education? And the shorthand that I use is that critical consciousness is I ask myself, right? I ask myself, what's my role in what's happening here? And culturally responsive education is I ask you. And you tell me, and I lovingly ask, and I ask from a place of authentic curiosity.